Hi guys. I don't know if anyone's here yet, but I just wanted to welcome everyone to this webinar. I am so excited you're here. We'll get started in a little bit. Um, for the people who are here, if you want to type in the chat, where you're tuning in from. Maybe you are throughout the country, maybe throughout the world, who knows. Maybe you guys are busy watching the Vikings game, which that's okay if you are. I am not a huge Vikings fan, so I maybe made the mistake of scheduling this right at 7 when the Vikings game starts pretty soon, but that's okay. So let me know where you're from. Tune into the chat. If you can't see me very well, I hope you can see my message. That's okay. The most important part is the message. So this is my first webinar, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll get started so soon. Okay, so still waiting on a few people here. So just a little bit of housekeeping. So for those of you that are joining in, feel free to, make yourselves at home. Eliminate any distractions you can while you're with me. There's, whether it's the TV's on in the background or you have kids in your home, try to go to a quiet place if you can. That will be a lot easier to get the most out of this tonight. So yeah, go ahead and eliminate any distractions at this point, and we will get started so soon. Okay. All right, so I am here. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited that you are here with me tonight. It is December 1st. Can you believe it? It's already that time of year where you start hearing Christmas carols on the radio. You start doing all your Christmas shopping. If you haven't started already, I think you might be one of the only ones, but that's okay. That's not a problem at all. And everything else with Christmas begins right now, right? So all that holiday baking, all those family outings with friends, and then, what are those traditions that you do with your family too? So all of that is starting right now, December 1st. It's winter. We don't really have much snow here in Minnesota from those tuning in Minnesota, but we are going to get started here. So like I had said, eliminate any distractions that you can, whether that's the TV, whether it's kids or other family members, whether it's your dog. I think mine, he might be sleeping right now, and anything you can. And I'm going to do a quick screen share. So you guys bear with me on this. Give me some grace because I have never done this before. I don't know what I'm doing with webinars. So I'm hoping, even if you can't see me, the most important part is that you can hear me. So I'm sorry if it's kind of grainy or if it's hard to see, but hopefully you can hear me. So I am going to go ahead and screen share this. Let's see here. Hang with me 1 second and we will get started. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I hope you guys can see this. And it's coming. Okay, so first of all, thank you guys for taking the time to, really think about what you want this holiday season and what's important to you. So this is all about how to make more time for the people and activities you love most this holiday season. Because so many times we see Christmas come and go and New Year's come and go, and in the flash of an eye. And it's one of those things that we create the best memories around. So how do you create some of those memories and that extra time when you have so many extra things going on? So a little bit before we get started, so grab a cup of coffee, grab a glass of wine or a cup of hot cocoa, and cozy up for a fun holiday hour, because you guys, we are going to have an awesome time. Let me just tell you, I am going to keep you on track, and we will get out of here by, between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. And so go ahead and grab a pen and paper, or a piece of paper. So the biggest thing about this is you guys are going to get the most results from this if you take action, because we all know action is what equals results. And so whether you think you can just listen along, that's great. But if you want to see the impact in your life, you have to take action during each one of these 5 steps that we do action parts for. So please, I know maybe that pen and paper is over on the kitchen table and you are sitting cozied up on the couch, but please go grab that piece of paper and your pen and sit back down and cozy on up, because this is going to be the best December 1st night that you have. So I'll wait a couple minutes, go do that, and then we will dig in here. And just so you know, I can't actually see the chat right now. So if you have questions, go ahead and type them in there, and as soon as, let's see here. So you should see, oh, sorry, you're back to me. Let's go back to the screen share. And let's see here. Yes. So sorry, guys. We are getting back here, and don't you worry. Yep, this should work, hopefully. Like I said, I have not done this before. Oh, there it is. Thank goodness, right? Say a little prayer for that. And we are back, so that gave you your time to, grab your beverage of choice and your pen and paper, and we are going to dig right in. So who am I? For those of you who don't know me, I am a Minnesotan born and raised. So I grew up in southern Minnesota, and now I live in downtown St. Paul. So St. Paul of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and I love my little neighborhood here. It is so charming. I grew up in a really big family, and I adore every one of them. So you guys, I have 6 older brothers. I have sisters-in-law, and I have so many little nieces and nephews calling me Auntie Amanda. And I mean, one of them, he's 13, so he's not so little. He's actually way taller than me. But I adore all of them. Another little piece about me, so I love a good cup of coffee, and trying out different restaurants or wine bars or whatever it is. I love experiencing new things. I'm always curious about life and what experiences there are to have. So that's a little bit about me. And last but not least, a little tidbit for those of you who don't know me extremely well. I love Christmas. So I am a Christmas fanatic. If every day could be Christmas, I would be so happy. But I listen to Christmas music all year round. I've already watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 5 times within the last month. So I am all about Christmas, and I love this time of year. And I wish you could all be here to hang out with me during this time, because I love anything I can get my hands on this time of year. So a little bit about life coaching and how I got started in it. So I a few years ago, I found myself working in a corporate job at Target Corporate in downtown Minneapolis. And through that job, I experienced extreme burnout. So I had a very imbalanced life between work and life. And there were plenty of mornings where I would get in before 7 a.m. and I would leave after 9 p.m. And then there would be times where I would have put in a full week of work, and then I would be working nights and weekends, and my family or friends would ask me to do things or tell me about things coming up that they wanted me to be at, and I would have to say no because I felt the need to work. And that was the hardest thing for me. And I'm sure many of you can relate when you have to say no for something that you don't care about, and or you're saying yes actually to something that you don't care about, but you're saying no to the people that you care about most. And that's what killed me. And that is what made me restructure and reframe how I viewed work and how I viewed life, and what the important things were to me in life, how I wanted to feel throughout life, because time is way too short. And so through my job at Target Corporate, I got connected with some incredible people. Some of those people are still my friends today, and they are some of the most fantastic people I've met in my life. But one of those people in particular, she is a woman who really led this authentic leadership group that I was able to be a part of. And she is the one who opened my eyes to life coaching. She actually went through CTI coaching training, and I was very interested in it after I had left Target, and so we stayed in contact, and she had suggested if this is something I was interested in, then I should think about getting my own life coach, which I did. And I have worked with my life coach for 2 years now, and it is the best decision I have ever made. This woman who's my coach, she is incredible. She has opened my eyes in so many ways. I have learned so much about myself and felt so confident in the way I live my life today, whereas previously I was very uncertain, very unsure in where I should be going and what I should be doing. But this woman has helped me in many ways. And so through working with her, I became very clear on my path that I wanted to go down around life coaching. And so I actually decided to go through the same type of coaching through CTI, so the Coactive Coaches Training Institute. And then I also did my coaching with Gabby Bernstein. So she is a New York Times bestselling author and life coach, and I went through her masterclass training, which was an incredible experience. I also love coaching with women one-on-one or doing group presentations about different topics that I'm really passionate about. And then I love coaching through writing, which is something kind of unexpected for me. So I have been fortunate enough to be featured in the Huffington Post a few times and places like Grit and Virtue and the Belong magazine and so on. So I really enjoy that aspect of coaching in the writing form, not just in person or virtually. So let's move on. So me, this is even more insight into my life. So you guys, I am just like you. I mean, you can see from these pictures. So I'm going to take you through this little journey. So we've got the top left, or maybe it's the right for you. It's my mama and I. So we were able to do a vision board workshop together for the first time this past year, and it was incredible. And so that is us with our final products, and it was really fun to share that experience with my mom. And then right below my mom, we've got my little dog Boots. So that is him all stretched out. He is my little dachshund who I got from a local rescue. I never thought I would end up with a dog this soon. I never thought I would have a dachshund. But Boots is my little Christmas guy that I brought home now 2 years ago at Christmas. And I absolutely adore this little guy. Right below that, we have a big old cup of coffee because you guys, I love coffee. A good mocha in the morning really gets me, ready for the day, and I love that. And then right next to that, we have, that is all 7 of us. So those are my siblings, you guys. So my mom is incredible for the fact that she had all 7 of us, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in 10 years. she had 7 of us in 10 years. She is incredible, and my dad is just as incredible for raising us. And so then right next to that, we have what we all look like today, well, a few years ago. So that is all of us grown up from the little munchkins we were. Right at the top then, there is a picture in the Arizona mountains with my nephews. So the one sitting right next to me, he is way taller than me. He's my teenager. And then right below that picture is my parents and I at Christmas time. So I had to throw a Christmas picture in there because I do love Christmas. But this is just to show you guys a little insight into my life, and it is just like yours. Grew up small town, nothing crazy happening, and I loved every minute of it. So that's just some little bit of fun facts. So the agenda for tonight, we are going to go through a little bit of the intro that we did. So make sure you have that pen and paper. Make sure you have eliminated those distractions. You now know a little bit more about me. And we are going to go through this 5-step process, you guys, because this process, you are going to feel more joy as you go through the holidays. You are going to feel more alive as you go through the holidays. You are not going to feel stressed. You might feel a little stressed, but not as much stress as you would have felt before going through this. And you are going to enjoy every minute of it this year, and you're going to be intentional about your time, which is the biggest thing that you are going to remember about this holiday season. And I cannot wait to take you guys through this 5-step process. And at the end, we'll do some Q&A. So I had some questions submitted ahead of time, but we'll see if we can get that chat going, and you guys can post some questions in there. And then we'll end it for the night. So let's get started. The 5-step process. So it's all about letting go, being intentional, and creating a plan that feels good. So it's not a plan that just works, but it's a plan that you feel genuinely great about. It's communicating and managing expectations. It's living full and learning how to use the compassionate no, as I like to call it. And then creating more 5-star moments and celebrating the little moments. So we're going to go through each one of these in detail. And then there's an action step with each one of them. So that is why you need your pen and paper, so you can go through the actions tonight. We're going to hammer it out right now, so you don't have to set aside time later for it. So make sure you have that ready. So letting it go. This is all about that guilt feeling. So, you know, as we go through life, there are many times where you feel guilty about things that you think you should have done. And, you know, maybe this was last night. Maybe last night you felt guilty about something that you think you should have done, and you decided to do something else instead. Maybe it was, you know, maybe you didn't have time to cook dinner and eat dinner with your family at the kitchen table because you decided to spend more time at work because you had a project you wanted to finish. Or maybe you didn't go to that community event you said you would attend because you knew you were behind in getting things done around your home. Or maybe you decided to watch TV instead of, you know, calling your grandma or calling a good friend that you have been meaning to catch up with and you just haven't made the time to. Or maybe it's just sending that email to a good friend and you decide to watch TV instead and you felt guilty about that. And as you know, feel guilty about some of those things that you have going on in life, it's the shoulds that eat you alive, aren't they? You keep telling yourself, I should do this, I should do that. You can't should all over yourself. It's not worth it. Those are all made up beliefs that you have about the shoulds and what you should get done. So I just want to give you permission. You don't have to do all the things and be all the things to everyone. So especially for the women on this call or on this webinar tonight, we take on so many different hats. We do so many different things for the people in our lives. And we genuinely enjoy doing it most of the time. But you don't have to do it all. And not only do you not have to do it all, but you don't have to do it all right now. So a lot of times we want to over exceed and do it all right now, but that is not necessary. You don't have to feel guilty about not doing it all right now. And then as you think about all those things that you want to do or you feel like you should do, it's okay to be perfectly imperfect. You are enough the way you are. As you go through life, instead of telling yourself that you can't enjoy the moment because you didn't get to this, that, or the other thing, stop. Maybe you didn't cross all your T's or dot all your I's and make it perfect, but that's okay. No one's perfect. That's what makes you who you are. That's what makes you interesting. There's just no need to feel that guilt for something that is not important at the end of the day. So when you think about, letting your presence win and being fully alive, so you'll have all these things that come up this holiday season, and you're going to have to make choices. And as you make those choices, so whether that's a choice that you are going to spend the evening with your boyfriend or your husband or your significant other, instead of going out with your girlfriends for a girls' dinner, you can't feel guilty about not going out to that dinner, because then you won't feel fully present in that moment. And then you're missing out on double the amount of moments. So you aren't just missing out on one, but you're missing out on two. And so with that, choose to be present, choose not to feel that guilt. And as you're trying to get rid of that guilt feeling, I've got a solution for you guys. I've done this with different clients and different women that have said it's worked for them. I do it myself, and it may sound a little woo-woo at first, but let me tell you, it works. So whether you're saying, Amanda, I'm not all about this, think about it for a second first, because it works. So when you're starting to feel that guilt, when you're about to go out to dinner with your husband and guilty about all the other things that you didn't do, stop. Write down what you feel guilty about not doing, whether it's one thing, whether it's two things, whether it's three things, whatever it is. You're going to stop and think about what you feel guilty about, and you're going to write it out. And you're going to write it on a piece of paper. And as soon as you write it on that piece of paper, you are going to either burn it, you're going to shred it. I've done it where I've let it go with a balloon before. And as you do that, you are going to say out loud, I am enough, because you are so enough the way that you are, and you don't have to do all the things. So as you do that, the action step right now, I want you guys to think about what are two things that you are intentionally choosing not to do, and you are not going to feel guilty about not doing this holiday season. So take the time right now, write it down. We aren't moving forward until you guys write this down. So two things that you're intentionally not choosing to do, and you're not going to feel guilty about doing them. So as I think about this, I think about, I love baking, and I always bake a lot for the holiday season and try to deliver them to my neighbors in my apartment building. However, they do not always answer, and I sometimes have a lot of leftovers. I'm choosing not to bake as much. I'm choosing not to spend my time doing that. I'm choosing not to feel guilty about not baking for my neighbors that I'm trying to meet and I haven't met yet. So that is one example of how you can do that. So write down what you are choosing to intentionally not do this holiday season. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Be intentional and create a plan that feels good. So this is all about time management and finding tools that work for you. So let's go over some of the tools. I love a paper planner. So whether it's my Russell and Hazel planner, absolutely love that one. Or it is, I have this new Refresh planner, which I just got in the mail for 2017. Love that. Or maybe it's digitally. Maybe you guys like something like Trello, where you can create all the lists. So if you're my list woman, Trello is all for you. It is free. You can make as many lists as you want. Or Or maybe you enjoy something more like Google Calendar. It's practical. You can invite people. You can put your hair appointments. You can pick up the kid appointments. You can put different events you have going on and share it with people. So maybe that's more your thing. And Google, I mean, it has a whole suite of things, which is for you. And so as you think about what are those tools that make planning fun for you, you know, it's not something that needs to drag you down. So as you start using those tools, you're going to make a list and check it twice, right? Sounds a little Christmassy, huh? So what this means is you are going to make a list of all the things that you want to do this holiday season. So what are your priorities? What do you want to do? What aligns with your core values? And you're going to make a list of everything you want to do this holiday season, whether it's the to-dos, whether it's the events, whatever it is. And then once you make that list, then you're going to schedule it into your calendar. So I sent everyone on the email list a Christmas calendar template. So that is absolutely free for you guys to use for this. So you can schedule those events and those to-dos right in that calendar. And as you go through that, it's important to also schedule free time. So think about not scheduling out all your time, but scheduling free time. And then as those free nights come up, you know, look back at your list. What are those things that you really want to do this holiday season, whether it's by yourself, with family, or with friends? And those free nights, those are your nights to pull out that list and pick something off of there. So, you know, make sure to take the time to schedule it. I do always use a different Christmas calendar than my regular one because there's so much going on this time of year and I don't want to miss out on my favorite things. So I do put it up in my kitchen, whether you have a desk or a command center. Make it a priority to get organized because that will help you make the most of your holiday season. So make it fun and plan a time to review it each morning and evening. So I actually love planning. For a lot of people who know me, they know I plan everything down to the minute or second, depending on when it is. And so make it fun. Spend some time in the morning reviewing it. So whether that's 15 minutes or what it is, I also like to spend 30 minutes at night reviewing my game plan for the week, what that looks like, making sure I'm intentional about my time and what I want to do with my time. And then the other thing is think about how you want to feel when you're doing all these things. So that might sound a little crazy at first, but hang with me here. So how do you want to feel when you walk into your office? How do you want to feel when you decorate Christmas cookies with your kids? How do you want to feel when you pick up the phone to talk to your grandma? How do you want to feel when you get ready in the morning this month? Think about truly how you want to feel. Do you want to feel alive? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel curious about life? Do you want to feel love and joy? Think about what's important to you and how you want to feel and how you're going to incorporate that into your holiday season. And then let's get into the action step here. So the action step is categorize your list of events and to-dos into need-tos versus want-tos. So select a date for your top 3 activities tonight and follow up with them after this webinar. So right now, write your need-tos and your want-tos. We're going to take some time to do this. I'm going to time you guys. You have 2 minutes. So think about what are some of your to-dos that you have going on. You know, whether it's I want to go sledding. I want to go ice skating. I want to go snowshoeing. I want to volunteer at the food shelf. I want to go with my mom to a concert. I want to hang out with my dad and make popcorn balls. You know, whatever it is, write down all your to-dos, whether it's I need to pay the bills, or I need to pick my kids up this week, or I need to take my dog for a walk, or I need to get this birthday present or this card in the mail, or whatever it is, make that list of everything going on. And then you categorize them into need tos and want tos. So take that time right now and do that. And then as you have that list, schedule your top 3 activities that you want in your holiday season. And make sure to follow up with the people that involves after this and confirm that those are happening. Okay, so we are moving on swiftly because I want to keep you guys on time. So the third step, communicate and manage expectations. Oofda. So this is a big one. This is a huge one. When was the last time you were let down because your expectations were too high? Or you had expectations of a situation? Let's say, for instance, either your husband or spouse or boyfriend, whoever, you were let down because he didn't plan a date night and that you really wanted him to. And you were let down when that didn't happen. And how did you feel? Did you feel frustrated? Did you feel hurt that maybe he didn't care enough? Did you feel not cared about? Did you feel not worthy, not valued? Those are all very real feelings. However, think about, did you communicate those expectations to him? Think about that. So how many times do we go into situations where we have expectations? We make a plan, we have everything, crossed off, and it should be flawless, right? And that doesn't go as planned. Not only does it not go as planned, but it takes a complete 180 in the other direction. And you don't necessarily know how that happened. And then you think about it, and it's like, well, this was all up in my head. I had these expectations of how I wanted this to go, but did I communicate this to the other people involved? Did I share my thoughts? That is something that makes the biggest difference. So communication is the biggest thing separating you from everyone you have ever had expectations for that didn't turn out the way you planned. So expectations are not a bad thing, but people in your life aren't mind readers. They can't read what's in your mind. They can't read what's there unless you communicate it to them. So communicate your expectations. It eliminates that frustration, hurt, and arguments and misunderstandings and tension during the holidays. It mitigates those times where you feel like you are let down time and time again because you have these ideas in your mind of how you want events to go or how you want certain things to go. But if you don't communicate those expectations or those desires, they aren't going to go that way, and you are going to continuously be let down. And that is not a good feeling. And then you feel resentment towards the other person, and you feel hurt by the other person. But the thing is, the other person didn't even notice. And they didn't notice because you didn't communicate that that was your expectation of the situation. So you are not a victim here. We are not victims in our own lives. You have the choice to communicate. You have the choice to share your expectations. That doesn't mean it's always going to go as planned, and you have to grant yourself some grace there. But that just means that you need to share what's on your mind and communicate. And so as we think about, communication expectations for this season, think about what is one area of your life or one thing that you need to communicate right now in order to eliminate misunderstandings or hurt feelings this holiday season. So write that down. Take the time to do that. I can already say to you guys one thing that came up for me personally, um, and this may make some of you laugh, but it's a very real thing to me because I do love this Christmas season so much, and Christmas Eve is by far my most favorite day of the year. And it was, I think, back in August, the NFL came out with their football schedules for the year. And I found out that the Vikings are playing on Christmas Eve. This is the first Christmas Eve I have ever remembered that the Vikings played. And you guys all know I have a big family and all older brothers. My parents are both Vikings fans. My grandma is a big Vikings fan. And I am thinking, oh, shoot. Like, everyone's going to want to watch the Vikings, and all I want to do is watch Home Alone and Christmas Vacation and Elf and every other Christmas movie under the sun and just do Christmas charades and Christmas everything. And I realized that this could be something where my expectations are not met unless I communicate. So what did I do? Well, I called my mother and I called my father and I let them know for Christmas Eve that, oh, did you know the Vikings are playing? Yeah. So can I reserve the living room for no Vikings? It's funny, but it's true. That you don't need to take it to that extreme. But, I recognize that that was a situation that could potentially create some hurt feelings for me. And so I communicated that a few months in advance. So regardless of how that event turns out, I took the time to communicate my expectations. I level set my expectations by having that conversation and hearing the other side and, what they would want and if they would want to watch the Vikings. So I could prepare myself for unexpected twists and turns and whatnot. But that's just an example of one area where I communicated in order to eliminate any misunderstandings. Like if I were to get home on Christmas Eve and not have that conversation, and all of a sudden everyone's watching the Vikings and I'm sitting in the kitchen by myself. And that is not a fun experience. So anyways, just a fun note about how it can be very real in your life. So, and as you think about it, I like to think about, we were just talking about planning, but it's kind of like if communication and planning got married, we would all be living happily ever after. So you need to plan and communicate, tie those two together, and we are all good to go. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Live fully in the compassionate no. So this one is all about, how do you fill yourself up? How do you learn how to say no? How do you be fully present and in that moment? So the biggest piece about this, which I want to talk about, is boundaries. So I don't know if you guys set boundaries in your life. It's something that I wasn't very familiar with. I was always a yes girl. Say yes to everything. I always want to help people. I'm always yes. And I have overcommitted. I have been frustrated. I have burnt myself out. I've been on autopilot through life because I said yes too many times where I couldn't fully experience life and fill my own cup up to be overflowing so I could give back fully of myself. So let's talk about boundaries for a minute. So some of you might be, oh, what the goodness are boundaries? So think about it for a second. What are boundaries? It's as simple as what is okay with you and what is not okay. So sometimes it's important to communicate those boundaries to the other people that they affect. Sometimes it's just really great to know those boundaries for yourself. So, for instance, some of those boundaries for yourself, they might be something like, if you have someone, whether it's in your immediate family or extended family, that's genuinely an angry person, You may set this boundary for yourself, for that person. Whether you choose to communicate that or not, that is your choice. But the boundary could be something like, you may not yell at me. If you continue, I'll have to leave the room. So knowing in your mind that that angry person, you have set the boundary that they are not allowed to yell at you. If they do, you leave the room. And know that that's okay. And you don't have to defend that. That is a boundary that you have set. Another one could be to set a boundary with personal phone calls or texts at work. Maybe you have friends or family that just contact you way too much during the day, and you need to set a boundary. It could be something as simple as, I've decided to take all personal calls and texts in the evening in order to get my work done. I will need to call you when I leave work for the day. You don't have to explain it if you don't want to, but you do need to set those boundaries so that you don't let people walk all over you. You stay true to your values and what's important to you. Another one could be and how to say no to extra commitment. So this really goes into the compassionate no that we're going to talk about. So it could be something like, although this organization is important to me, I need to decline your request to volunteer help in order to honor my family's needs. And that's okay. You don't need to justify a boundary. A boundary is something you set for yourself because you know your limits. And so as we talk about identifying when and how to use the compassionate no. So the no comes in with boundaries. It comes in when you think about what's important to you in your life. What are your values for your life? If it doesn't align with your values you have in your life, why are you saying yes? I can think of so many times where I was a yes woman, and I would say yes so many times where I would literally get off the phone or get home and it's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then you get into this horrible mess of emotions where at one point I'm on the kitchen floor crying, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And then it's like, oh, I could do this, or I think I can do this. And it's like, oh yeah, I got this. But do you really want to go through that cycle time and time again? Or do you want to learn how to use that compassionate no? Because when you use that no, that's when you're going to take back your life. That's when you're going to stop getting on autopilot and people ask you, oh, how are you doing? Oh, you know, I've been busy. No, maybe you are busy, but it's not going to be your autopilot response because you are going to be intentional with your time. If it is not a heck yes, it's going to be a big no. Have that attitude. Know that you don't have to say yes to everything. Going back to letting it go, you don't have to be everything to everyone. You are enough as you are. Use that compassionate no to take back time for yourself and the things that matter most to you in your life. So as you think about using that no, yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable at first. You know, maybe it's you're in church and someone asks you to volunteer for something or asks you to help out with something across the pew, and you know, you're in church, you want to say yes, and it's like in the back of your mind, like, I can't really commit to another thing. You know, I have this, that, and the other thing, and yada, yada, whatever it is. Politely tell them and give them a loving, you know what? I really love that idea, but let me think about that for a little bit and get back to you. There's nothing that says that you have to tell them right now what you need to do. You don't have to give them a yes or no right now. Give yourself permission to take the time to think about it and really think about if you can do it in a way that feels good. Because the last thing you want to do is overcommit and then feel a sense of resentment towards these people and feel like you can't enjoy whatever you said yes to because you said yes too many times that you can't feel excited about it. And so, you know, really use that no. I guarantee every time you use that no, you feel more confident saying it, and it feels incredible once you get that time back in your life. So really think about what you say yes to, whether it's a heck yes, otherwise it's got to be a big no. So really think about that. The other piece is embracing the FOMO mentality for your own life. So fear of missing out, don't miss out on your own life. Don't do it. It's so not worth it. Instead of having that fear of missing out on other things, have that fear of missing out on your life. Put yourself as a priority and have that fear, because that's one of the only times I think I'll ever tell you to have fear, but it's just with this acronym. But instead of worrying about what everyone else is doing and missing out on this event or that social gathering, have that fear of missing out on your life by being on autopilot and going through and not truly resting and thinking about how you want to feel in your life. And then the next thing is filling your own cup up so it's overflowing. So take care of yourself, whether that's your health, mentally, physically, whatever it is, take care of yourself, because when you fill your own self up, that's when the overflowing happens. That's when you start overflowing, you can give fully of yourself to others. So it's not a selfish thing for you. It's actually a gift to others by being able to fully give to them by filling your own self up and knowing what you need. And so think about that, because how many times are you say you're so busy, you're overcommitting, you're on autopilot, you're go, 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 say yes, yes, yes. And before you know it, someone texts you about something and you send them a snarky text back about this, that, or the other thing, that you didn't mean it to be that way. You didn't mean it to take anything out on them, because everything else has to do with other people. But you snapped because you're overcommitting, you're drained, and you let your emotions get the best of you. So think about that. Think about filling your own cup up first, and so that you can fully give back to others. It's not selfish. It's good for you. And then the last thing is ask yourself these 3 questions. So think about, at the end of every day, did I live fully? Was I present each day? That's number 1. Number 2, did I love? Did I really love today? Did I love the people that I encountered today? And number 3, did I matter? Did I make a difference? Did I care enough? Think about those 3 things. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? And that will be a good guiding point on your life. So action step here. What is one promise you're going to make to yourself this season to get true rest, get off autopilot, and one step further away from overcommitting? So it's very easy to overcommit with all the holidays and extra activities. So be intentional about it right now and think about, what's one thing that you're going to promise to yourself to get that true rest? Is it getting 7 hours of sleep a night? Is it having one home cooked meal every other day? What is it that you need? Is it, spending 30 minutes reading at night? What is it that you need? Think about that right now. I'm going to give you some time to write that down, because that's really important to take that action. And then we just have 1 step left, you guys. Can you believe it? This is going so fast. I feel like I could talk all night. Okay. So the last part of the 5-step process is create more 5-star moments. So you guys are probably thinking, what's a 5-star moment, right? My favorite. So this is what I have fully embraced. So think about when you buy a product and you give it a 5-star rating review because it is everything that you wanted. Or think about you went out to dinner and you had the best mac and cheese you have ever had in your life, or you had the best risotto you have ever had. Think about those places, those experiences, those products, those people that you were with when you encountered those 5-star moments. And it's those things that you find yourself promoting. Like, you guys, I love Menards. It's crazy, but I love it. And I tell everyone about it. I think they have everything you could ever want. And I just spent an hour and a half there on Saturday because they had all their holiday deals. And that, I truly find joy being there. And it's crazy to think about, but you guys, there are those 5-star moments that each of us have. And how do you create more of those? So what are those things that you enjoy? How do you create them? I think about a 5-star moment could be something as simple as, I learned this killer homemade pizza crust recipe. And when I get the pizza crust just golden brown, and I get the perfect ratio of cheese to red sauce and toppings, oh my goodness, it is so good. And so that is a 5-star moment for me. I love every bit about that pizza. I think it's delicious, and it could be something as taking another step further. So maybe it's a dinner experience. How often do you light a candle, put on a little jazz music, and sit down at your table to have your dinner? Why not? Create those moments for yourself. Those are the moments that make life meaningful. And then the last part about this is celebrate the little things in life. You guys, whether it's you hit green lights all the way to work, or you paid your bill, you remember to pay all those bills on time, or it's your kid didn't have an accident that day, or it's, you got over half the things done off your to-do list, which felt really good. Take time to celebrate that. Life is too short. It's too precious not to. Every day there's something worth celebrating. Whether it's you woke up and you can use both of your legs without any pain to walk to that bus stop. Whether you woke up and you can pick up your toothbrush with your own hand. Think about those things that truly matter in life. Celebrate those things, because they are not something to be taken for granted. They are blessings to us all. So the action here, what is something you consider a 5-star moment that you want to do at least once this holiday season? So think about that. What does that mean for you? What's that 5-star moment? Whether it's, making that perfect batch of homemade hot chocolate and putting on that holiday movie and watching that with friends, or watching it with your family. What do those 5-star moments look like in your life? So think about that and write that down. Okay, you guys, we're doing pretty good on time. We have 10 minutes left, and we are going to crank through this. I promise you that. So this is the bonus one. Don't save it all for Christmas Day. So we are just beginning the holiday season, and you guys may have heard that Celine Dion song. I am a huge Celine Dion fan, but don't save it all for Christmas Day. You know that joyful feeling? Be joyful all year round. Be kind. Choose to love more. There's so much going on in this world, and if we could all just be more joyful, be kind, and choose to love more. We don't know what people are going through in life, and everyone could use a kind interaction each day. So don't choose to whistle only on the days leading up to Christmas. Don't choose to hold that door open for someone else only on the days leading up for Christmas. Don't choose to smile at a stranger on the street only during the month of December. Choose it all year round. And don't save it all for this December 25th, which we are coming up on so soon. So recap. It's all about the 5 steps. So let go of that guilt. Be intentional and create a plan that feels good. Communicate and manage your expectations. Live fully and use that compassionate no. And create more 5-star moments and celebrate. And these are your action steps. So it's all about, what are 2 things that you're intentionally choosing not to do and not feel guilty about? Action 2, categorize your list of events and to-dos into need tos versus want tos. What is one area of your life or one thing that you need to communicate in order to eliminate misunderstandings and hurt feelings this holiday season? What is one promise you're going to make to yourself this season to get true rest, get off autopilot, and one step further away from overcommitting? And what is something you consider a 5-star moment that you want to do this season? So those are your action steps. So getting into this, we're going to stop sharing for a second. And hopefully you guys are all still with me. Let's see here. And you guys are all still here. So that is excellent. I'm hoping if you guys want to use the chat, go for it. It is there for you. We are going to go into also, we're going to go back to screen share just for a second. If I can do this, I'm still trying to figure it all out. So bear with me. Okay. Oh, and here we go. So back to this. So we have a couple minutes left, and I just want to go through this with you guys. So what I want to share with you, my Christmas gift to you, if you want a free 30-minute coaching session, send me an email. If you send it to this email with the subject line Merry Christmas within the next 48 hours, you guys get a free coaching session. So if you want to know more about what it's like to work with a coach, or how you want to be intentional for your holiday season, send me an email within the next 48 hours. So that means it's December 1st now at almost 8 o'clock. So December 3rd at 8 o'clock, send an email to there and I will work with you to create a plan that feels good. So then a little bit, if you would like personal one-on-one help with coaching, you can always contact me here at hello@amandabelke.com. If you just want to know more about what it's like to work with me as a life coach, feel free to reach out at any point. I would love to work with you. I'd love to give you more information. Like I said, I've been working with my coach for 2 years. She is incredible. I have loved all the work I do with my clients so far. So I would love to work with you as well. So reach out if that is something that you want to think about and make big shifts in your life and transformations. That is where you can go to get in contact with me. So Q&A, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I did get some ahead of time, so I'm going to go through those with you right now before we get to the end of the hour. So the first one, what if I really can't get rid of that guilt feeling or it keeps popping up? So that was a question I got. So my thought on that is it all starts with one small right action. So removing that guilt from blocking and sealing the joy of your other moments, that is what you need to focus on. You don't have to do it. You don't have to think, I'm removing the guilt for the rest of my life. It's one small right action. So it's, I'm removing the guilt for this moment. And then another thing comes up and I'm removing the guilt for this moment. And it's continually one right action after another. And you have to choose it time and time again. So another question I got was, sometimes I feel like I have to constantly keep up with the Joneses during the holidays, and I don't know what to do about it. I hear you on that, right? We constantly play that compare game, but comparison is a thief of joy. You cannot compare your chapter 24 to someone else's chapter 42. We all go through life at our own pace, in our own way, because we are uniquely made. God didn't create us as duplicates with the exact same personalities, quirks, and looks as everyone else. We were all made to write our own chapters, because if we just copied someone else's chapter, that would be a pretty boring book, wouldn't it? So think about that. You don't have to do and copy what the Joneses do. Write your own story. Then the last one I actually got was, I can never make my mother-in-law happy. No matter what I try to do or what I try or what I do during the holidays, what do I do and how do I enjoy being around her this time of year? Great question. That is something that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. First of all, is your mother-in-law communicating her expectations of you? If not, can you ask her what they are for different activities or family gatherings? What are her expectations of you? If that's not enough, is there an underlying issue or battle that she's facing? Maybe she's struggling with something right now. When in doubt, always treat others with love and kindness. It's hard to get upset with someone who is genuinely kind. So whether your mother-in-law is going through something, or whether she's just not communicating, when in doubt, treat her with kindness. It's hard for her to be upset with the daughter-in-law who's always kind back to her. Lastly, you don't need your mother-in-law's approval to dictate your worth. You are worthy on your own. Do your best to help out. Treat her with kindness and remind yourself that you are worthy. You are enough. You are valued the way that you are. The fact that you are even, let me just say this, the fact that you're even thinking about this proves that you care and that your mother-in-law is important to you and that you are very thoughtful caring about her. So think about that. And congratulations! You are on your way to the most blissful holiday season yet. I hope you enjoyed this first ever webinar. I am hoping that it worked and that everyone could at least listen to me if you couldn't hear me. And thank you for being here. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second and hope it comes back to me here. Let's see. You guys, thank you so much for coming to this webinar. Thank you for sticking with me this whole time, even if you couldn't see me that well. I really appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can all get this, recording too. If you have questions about the 5-step process that we went over, let me know. But truly, if you're going to get the most out of this, you need to take action. You need to take action to have a different result from what you had the last holiday season. So do that. It'll be worth it. It'll feel so much better. And I hope you guys all have a blessed holiday season. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I would love to chat with you. And with that, hopefully the Vikings are winning. Who knows? But it is 8 o'clock on the dot, and I am going to let you go. And I hope you have an incredible night. And Merry early Christmas. Thanks, guys.